Celeste Vaughn. To the outside world, she appeared to be the very definition of a fulfilled woman. Elegant, graceful, and in her early 40s, she lived in a sun-drenched colonial house on a leafy, quiet street in a Boston suburb. She had 2 lovely daughters, a blooming garden she tended with care, and a husband who was well-liked and widely respected. Her life seemed to belong on a greeting card or a Hallmark movie. But calm doesn't always mean contentment. Deep inside her, something had begun to stir. Not like a bolt of lightning, but something slower, an itch, a quiet question. Is this all there is? Was she finished being noticed? One alive? Her husband, Marcus Vaughn, was a man of quiet strength, intelligent, principled, dependable. He had built a tech support company from scratch and still fixed their daughters' laptops in his robe every Sunday morning. He never once glanced at another woman. He adored Celeste, and she respected him, maybe even loved him, but something felt absent. It began subtly. Her eyes lingered too long on a charismatic consultant at work, Trent Callahan, 10 years younger, with sun-kissed hair and a crooked, boyish grin. He was confident without trying, sharp-witted, and carried none of the burdens of fatherhood or mortgages in his gaze. One conversation turned into several. Flirting that felt innocent quickly turned heady, electric, emotional intoxication. The first time their lips met, it didn't feel like betrayal. It felt like breathing after holding it in too long. When she finally undressed in the conference room, with the blinds drawn and door locked, it wasn't a slip. It was a choice. They fell onto the sleek table, hands and limbs moving like people who'd been starving. Afterward, Celeste lay there, flushed, trembling, staring at the ceiling, knowing she had crossed a line she couldn't uncross. She returned home that evening and lay beside Marcus as if nothing had changed. But everything had. And Marcus? He noticed. He always did. He never said a word. Celeste's double life continued for weeks. Carefully timed hotel meetups. A second phone hidden in her purse. Lies sewn together with surgical precision. On the outside, she remained the ideal wife and devoted mother. But behind the mask, she was walking a tightrope and loving the thrill. Then came the weekend that shattered everything. Marcus stumbled upon a message, an unsent draft left open in her private email. She'd meant to erase it. She didn't. I can still feel your hands on me, Trent. The way you whisper my name like it's sacred. I need more. God help me. That evening, Marcus didn't yell. He didn't break down. He tucked the girls into bed, kissed Celeste's forehead, then quietly retreated to his office, poured himself a scotch, and made 2 calls. One to a private investigator, the other to a divorce attorney. He wasn't merely hurt. He was precise, intentional, patient. By Monday, he had what he needed. The investigator had followed Celeste for 3 weeks. The report was ironclad. Time-stamped logs, hotel bills, blurry yet damning footage of her, and Trent embracing at a gas station off Route 6. The final blow? Security cam footage from the executive suite. Grainy, yes, but unmistakable. Still, Marcus didn't confront her that night. No shouting, no accusations, no photographs slammed on the table. He waited, watching, calculating. So when Celeste finally approached him, saying, "Marcus, I think I need a little space. Maybe even a trip, just for me, to rediscover myself," he simply nodded. "Take all the space you need," he replied. She hesitated. "You're okay with that?" Of course. It was the calm that rattled her most. 3 days later, Celeste boarded a Caribbean cruise that Trent had arranged, convinced Marcus was none the wiser. But back home, the chessboard was already shifting. Marcus set the girls down. Eva, 18, always skeptical of her mother's odd hours. And Nora, 16, observant and quietly sharp. He told them everything. The affair, the deceit, the plan. They didn't cry. They didn't scream. Eva simply asked, "How soon can we leave?" Nora nodded in agreement. She's not coming back, not to the life she had. While Celeste danced on the cruise deck under moonlight, Marcus was dismantling the life she thought she controlled. He moved funds, separated joint accounts, safeguarded the college savings. sold their second vehicle. Then he made anonymous reports to HR at both his and Celeste companies. Trent, after all, had been sleeping with a married co-worker during company time. That kind of revelation triggers investigations. Marcus didn't need to shout. He just needed to tug the right strings. Then he called someone he had never spoken to before, Trent's wife, Marissa. She picked up after 2 rings. Children shouting in the background. "You might want to sit down," Marcus said gently. Marissa didn't cry. "I knew it," she said quietly. "I just couldn't prove it." By morning, Trent's clothes were strewn across his front yard. Marcus was orchestrating a storm. And when Celeste came back, skin-tanned, eyes bright, smile practiced, ready to slip back into her role, as if nothing had shifted, she found a very different scene waiting. The locks were changed. The girls were gone. A single envelope sat on the front porch. Inside, divorce papers. And a handwritten note in Marcus' crisp, familiar script. "Don't bother knocking. You're not locked out. You're just no longer welcome in." Neighbors watched from their windows as Celeste stood outside, suitcase in hand, shivering in the evening air. No one opened a door. No one offered comfort. Word spread fast. Marcus didn't speak to anyone about it. He didn't need to. Celeste spiraled. She tried calling Marcus. No response. Texted the girls, left on read. Called Trent. Straight to voicemail. Eventually, she checked into a dingy motel on the edge of town. The walls were paper-thin. The faucet shrieked. The mattress might as well have been stone. Her dreams were worse than her reality. And in that silence, she finally started to think, not out of guilt, out of fear, because Marcus wasn't just ending their marriage. He was making sure she disappeared from the life she once ruled. Celeste wasn't ready for what followed. She perched on the edge of the motel bed, her knees tucked tightly to her chest. Black streaks of mascara stained her cheeks like the remnants of a battle. It had been 2 days since the ground beneath her life gave way, since she realized Marcus wasn't the docile, agreeable man she'd long taken for granted. She dialed his number again, straight to voicemail. "Marcus, please. I don't even know where the girls are. I didn't mean for any of this to spiral like it has. Just please call me." Nothing. Just the suffocating silence pressing in. The divorce documents sat in a manila folder beside her, untouched until now. She opened them with trembling hands. The contents felt surgical, void of warmth or grace. Marcus wasn't simply walking away. He was ensuring she left with nothing but her guilt and whatever she could carry. He was demanding sole custody. And with the attached investigator's report, a dossier filled with damning images and timelines. No court in Massachusetts would question it. One photo made her breath hitch. Her in a towel, laughing with Trent, her wedding ring still shining on her finger. Below that, a clinical breakdown of assets. Joint bank accounts, emptied. Emergency savings moved. College funds, locked. The house, his alone. Spousal support, none. The cause of the split, abandonment and marital misconduct. At the very bottom, a line typed in that eerily calm serif font. If custody is contested or public statements are made, all footage will be provided to family court. And, if necessary, to the media. Her eyes blurred, not just from tears, but from disbelief. Celeste Vaughn, once the polished executive who led financial briefings in sleek stilettos, had just been cornered by the man she assumed would crumble without her. That night, she couldn't bring herself to eat. Back in a small but cozy townhouse, Marcus had begun rebuilding. It wasn't as grand as their former home, but it breathed. Warmth returned. Laughter trickled into the corners of the kitchen again. Dinner time was filled with music, and Marcus took walks with Eva or helped Nora through late-night physics problems. He'd gone back to therapy, something he had pushed aside for years. Dr. Feldman, a soft-voiced therapist with eyes that rarely blinked, offered him words that lingered. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's the armor that keeps them from hurting you again. Marcus wasn't ready to forgive, but he was getting there. He had purged the house of Celeste's presence, donated her clothes, boxed up photos. Only one remained, a picture of Eva and Nora standing on the front lawn, holding a sign that read, "Welcome home, Daddy." He kept it in his wallet. Celeste, meanwhile, clung to what little remained. Her employer let her go quietly, citing violations of professional conduct. She fought back, but Marcus had already submitted the PI's evidence. Trent lost his job the same week. Word spread quickly through the office, eroding their reputations. Her LinkedIn profile turned into a digital ghost town. Even the women she once called friends fell silent. She tried calling Rachel, her Pilates partner. "You lied to us, so—" Rachel snapped. "You made Marcus sound so dull, like he was just furniture in your life. But that man adored you. You said you were finding yourself. Turns out you were just cheating in conference rooms." Click. Desperate, Celeste reached out to Marissa, Trent's ex-wife. Marissa's voice was calm but frigid. "You didn't just torch your own life, Celeste. You took mine down with it. But don't worry, I'm rebuilding. I hope someday you'll be able to say the same." Late one night, Celeste found herself scrolling through her phone's photo library. A picnic at the lake. Marcus pressing a kiss to her temple while Nora chased fireflies. Eva asleep in a beach chair, sun freckles across her nose. She had all of it: security, love, a family, and she gave it away for a man who hadn't responded to her texts in nearly 5 days. Then a buzz. One new message. "Trent, can I stay over tonight? I've got nowhere else to go." She stared at the screen. Typed, deleted, typed again, then turned her phone off. The next morning, she stood before the motel's cracked mirror, dragging a brush through her hair in numbed, mechanical movements. The bristles caught on knots, but she barely felt it. The reflection staring back at her was a stranger. Gone was a confident, radiant woman with perfect skin and an easy smile. What remained was the aftermath: bruised eyes, hollow cheeks, and a mouth that had forgotten how to lift at the corners. Her phone vibrated again. Another message. "I'm outside. Got coffee?" She didn't reply. Instead, she cracked the blinds open. There he was, Trent, standing in a wrinkled jacket and jeans, holding a tray with 2 cups. That cocky grin that once made her blush now looked tired. She opened the door, but didn't move aside. "Why are you here? I've got nowhere else." Marissa changed the locks. "My brother won't even answer my calls. You're all I've got left." Those words might have stirred something once. Now, they just felt like another burden. "I'm not your haven, Trent," she said softly. "I can't even salvage myself." "But we had something, didn't we?" he asked, stepping closer. "It meant something." She shook her head, voice low and brittle. "What we had was adrenaline. Secrets. A rush. Not reality." He let out a shaky breath. "So that's it? You're cutting me off too?" Her eyes brimmed, her voice barely audible. "My life's in ashes, Trent, and all we did was pass each other the matches." He reached out, desperate. "I love you." She looked up, steady now. "No, you don't." She broke. Her voice trembled as she snapped. "You're in love with a version of me that betrayed everything. The version who lied, who threw away 2 decades of loyalty for something shallow and fleeting." She didn't bother closing the door gently. That night, she sat alone in the dark. No television, no buzzing phone, just her thoughts spiraling like a storm. The weight of what she'd done pressed down hard. It wasn't just Marcus she had let down. She had fractured something inside herself. Deep down, she had always known the affair wasn't really about Trent. It was about the woman in the mirror, about feeling noticed again, desired, but she had misjudged the price. And Marcus? He hadn't finished playing his hand. Across town, Marcus stood at the head of a dinner table lit by soft candlelight, the sound of classical music drifting through the room. Laughter rang out like a melody. Eva had made pasta from scratch, and Nora was giggling over a cafeteria story. Their home was whole again without Celeste. Still, Marcus hadn't forgotten. Forgiveness, for him, wasn't about healing. It was about being ready. In a locked drawer was his final piece of leverage, a video. He never submitted it in court. He hadn't needed to. But if Celeste ever tried to spin a public redemption arc, if she played the role of the heartbroken, misunderstood ex, he'd be prepared. It wasn't vengeance. It was protection. He didn't want to destroy her further, but he no longer trusted her. That evening, he received a letter, No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakably hers. Marcus, I don't expect forgiveness. I'm not even sure you'll read this. But I have to say it. I remember everything. Every cup of tea you made just the way I liked. Every time you fixed something before I even asked. Every little note left on the mirror. Every joke that made me snort laugh in public. You deserve what I did. You weren't dull. I was just tired of myself. In chasing validation, I lost the parts of me that were worth loving. Tell the girls I'm proud. They're stronger than I ever was. I won't show up. I won't contest the terms. I won't pollute the air around you anymore. You win. Celeste. Marcus folded the letter neatly, placing it in a drawer with birth certificates and old anniversary cards. He didn't cry, not because he didn't care, but because he had already done all his mourning in the quietest hours, back when she was still beside him in body, but already gone in spirit. Celeste moved into a cramped one-bedroom apartment the next week. The heater rattled. The counters were chipped. She got a job as a billing coordinator at a nearby hospital, far from the sleek boardroom she used to command. Every day she put on a smile that didn't reach her eyes, traded luxury suits for clearance scrubs, and microwaved meals for one under flickering kitchen lights. And every night, memories ambushed her. A song, a scent, the sound of her daughters laughing in old videos. And always Marcus, the way he used to hold her hand wordlessly after a hard day. She once mistook his calm for passivity. Now she saw it for what it truly was. Resilience. Weeks later, while standing in line at the grocery store, she saw him, Marcus, with another woman. She was tall, elegant, silver threads in her hair pulled back in a loose braid. She leaned in when she laughed, and Marcus touched the small of her back. Tender, familiar. They looked happy. Celeste turned sharply and left her cart behind. Outside, she gripped the car door, knuckles white. That's when the truth hit her like a punch. She hadn't just lost a partner. She'd lost a partner. 3 months passed. Celeste never reached out again. She knew he'd moved on. The woman from the store, her name was Rachel Dempsey, a high school English teacher. Honest, grounded, divorced. She and Marcus weren't rushing anything. They didn't have to. The ease between them was natural. The girls liked her. That's what broke Celeste the most. Not that Marcus was healing, but that her daughters were okay without her. She still tried to stay connected. Birthday texts, brief check-ins. Once, Eva replied, "We're doing well. Please don't message anymore." Celeste never responded. Every morning, she brewed her coffee, rode the subway to work, returned home, ate alone, slept alone. She wasn't destitute. She had a roof, a job, but she was invisible now. The world had kept spinning and left her behind. One night, she found their wedding album. She flipped through it slowly. Marcus, smiling with that unguarded joy, younger, full of love. She brushed her fingers across his photo. "I broke you," she whispered to no one. Across the city, Marcus sat on the porch with Rachel, her hand resting on his. He laughed more now, slept through the night. The house was filled with warmth again. He never sent a video to anyone, never leaked it. He didn't have to. His silence said everything, and it spoke louder than any revenge ever could.